Jesus responds to this attack in Matthew. Then said Jesus to him. Mark, it skips this speech that he has to Peter and just goes right to what he says to everyone, which is in Matthew, but not until 55. Jesus answered and said to them, are you come out as against a thief? So 55, are you come out as against a thief? So I have to have Matthew first, what he's saying to Peter. Luke has a version of it, but it's super short. It's just, Jesus answered and said, suffer you thus far. It's not really clear, but the entire statement is underlined and explained in a note. Stop no more of this. Like, suffer the little children, permit the little children, allow. Suffer you, allow you this much. Allow this to happen. Stop no more of this. I don't know why it says stop, but I feel like he's saying allow it. Let this happen. And that's all that he says in Luke. Then he goes to them, be you come out as against a thief. But I'm not going to do that yet. John has something different. It's similar to what it has in Matthew. Put up your sword into the sheath. Put up against your sword into its place. In Matthew he continues, for all that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Think you not I cannot pray to my Father, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of angels. But how then shall the scriptures be fulfilled that thus it must be? All that, I think, needs to come first in Matthew, and then the last statement in John. The cup which my Father has given me, shall I not drink it? I think that's the best way. He's speaking to Peter, put your sword away. Or actually, no, first it needs to be from Luke. Allow this to happen, right? Suffer you thus far. Then combine Matthew and John, put your sword into the sheath. Then he explains why. If you live by the sword, you die by the sword. But more importantly, in this situation, I could defend myself. The Father could send 12 legions of angels, but he's not even going to ask because he needs to die on time, because the scripture must be fulfilled. That's why John should come last, because in order for the scripture to be fulfilled, he has to go through the suffering. He has to be arrested, he has to be falsely tried, he has to be falsely convicted, and that's the last statement from John. The cup which my Father has given me, shall I not drink it? Meaning the suffering. So, allow it from Luke, then Matthew and John, put your sword away. A little proverb, those who live by the sword die by the sword. Then the more deep explanation, I could defend myself with angels, but this has to happen so that all may be fulfilled. And then finishing with John, the cup which my Father has given me, meaning I must go through this suffering. Luke starts, and Jesus answered and said, but this is to Peter. And Jesus answered and said, Matthew, then said Jesus to him. John, then said Jesus to Peter. So I will use the name Peter instead of just saying him. But Luke, Jesus answered and said. It's like he's answering. When speaking to the fig tree didn't say anything. He's answering, meaning that's his response to the action. So I can still put answered. And said, then to Peter. So should it be then Jesus or and Jesus? Matthew has then, John has then, only Luke has and, so I'll go with then. Then from Matthew and John, I'll have Jesus now and then answered. Jesus is from all three. Mark doesn't have this. Answered and said to them. Then Jesus said to the chief priests. Matthew. In the same hour, Jesus said to the multitudes. Then the band just took him. He doesn't have the second statement in John. So I'm going to use answered now. I'll take that from Mark. And it's in Luke. Now, and said. And is just Luke. Said. Matthew, Luke, John. Matthew and John have two. Peter is only named in John. Okay, the healing of his ear is only in Luke. I didn't know that. Since it's only in Luke, should I wait until he's done speaking to Peter to put the healing? Because he doesn't have any other statements to Peter in Luke, which means I could put it right here. Suffer you thus far, he heals him. Then, put up again your sword in its place. No, that doesn't make sense, because if he wants Peter to stop fighting and to not continue the fight, he would say, put your sword away, and explain why. And then do the healing. So he should get all the statement out, stop the fighting, end the threat, then do medical.